Mr. Conway, no, seriously, how did this all begin? I want to know right from the ground up. I mean, because it's your feature debut.
Yeah.
So tell me everything that happened
Okay.
in this position.
Yeah, well, it all started when I was 4. No, it didn't. I was actually in LA trying to pitch for a feature that I wanted to get made. And I'd worked on a film called Drained with the writer Peter Stiliano, who was directing then. I think that was his directorial, I think. And Daniel Patrick Vaughan, the producer on this and cinematographer, he told me he was planning this idea of a kind of twist, a modern twist on a fairy tale based on Red Riding. And I was walking down Venice Beach, which sounds good in itself.
As you do.
As you do. And I'd just been told I wasn't getting the finance for a feature I was doing. So I was desperately unhappy. And the phone rang and it was Daniel Patrick Vaughan saying, Craig, can you remember this Red Riding film? We'd like to offer you to come on board and direct it. And it literally went from there. And then we worked on the script for several months. And lo and behold, it all took place and went forward.
Look, it's not the first time we've seen like a new version of Red Riding Hood. I mean,
Yeah.
A Company of Wolves, obviously I'm going to say that, other things as well. So what did you think you could do that was going to be different?
I think for me, the thing I knew I could bring to it was the working class element. I grew up in the northeast, working class area, working class people, and I wanted to show the kind of the state that we're in when it comes to being a working class person. You're always looking for something bigger, better, and you're always thinking that you're less than. And families are the things that disturb us the most. They're quite dark things, families, and they work in weird and wonderful ways. So I wanted to bring that element into it, and Red really represents the struggle for working class voices being heard.
Well, Victoria's your leading lady.
She is indeed.
Where did you find her?
Yeah. So a few people have mentioned Victoria to us, but I'm sure there was around about 900 self-tapes in the beginning for the role of Red. And ultimately Victoria came on. She did something that was extraordinary. And it was all about what she wasn't doing, what was going on behind the eyes. Everything was just in place, on point. And from the moment she started and we had conversations backwards and forwards, we both sat and cried on a Zoom one night about why we were doing it, what it's about. And her intelligence and her passion and dedication is just unbelievable.
So literally you were just sort of like, it was like an audition process for you. I mean, you'd never heard of this person before.
Never heard of this man. Got the name came up, didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
But no, just even the sides that I got for the audition. So it was the first round, just self-tape, and then the second round was a Zoom call with yourself and Dan. And even the sides I got, I just found it so natural to perform. It came to me very fluently, just with the writing and the story. I could already see a background there, a backstory for the character, and I loved as well that it's just such a strong female character. She's very feisty, and she's someone that has nothing to lose, in a sense. And that's a very dangerous kind of point to be at in just life, really, of you never know what that person's going to do next, essentially. But I could see that from the beginning, so I just found it really exciting. And once I got through to the Zoom as well, just exploring further as well the psychology that's involved in portraying a character like this. So no, I just found the whole process just really fascinating, really exciting, really.
This is feature debut though. I mean, were you a bit worried going in that it was going to be a bit naff?
Yeah, always. Yeah, that was the trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I think, do you know what? I think that's one of the beautiful things about it was we did make time for rehearsals. So we were both in a position of, we could fail at any time, but we had that communication from day one, and we'd sit and go through the script and rehearse and see. So we had a relationship where all the actors involved were allowed to try and fail. And I think sometimes now in rehearsals, especially, from my experience as an actor, there's less and less rehearsal time now. But in independent films, we can make our own rules a little bit more, and rehearsals are the key to it. That process of just being able to speak and have the ability to fail in front of each other without any judgment is a wonderful experience. And Victoria massively just went there, as well as all the cast, But I think it being a first time for me, first time for you, really, as a lead in a feature, the pressure was off because we were all in this as equal partners. There was no hierarchy when it came to how we worked. We just wanted to tell the story in the best way possible.
That was a really important aspect, I think, of actually establishing the relationship between the cast and the crew. We had nice little coffee mornings, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
We did rehearsals,
yeah.
it was lovely.
It kind of was, really.
Didn't do much, but there wasn't much work involved in it.
Nah.
But was it what you wanted it to be? I mean, there you are. You're behind the camera for the first time. Really, what did you think? Were you nervous on the first day?
Oh, terrified, and not because I didn't know what I was doing, because you're always trying to work out what your position is. Like as an actor, you turn up, you do your job, you hit your mark, you get off. But when you're responsible for a cast and crew, you're wanting them all to keep sight of that vision and what that is and try and be clear. But the only thing I had was really Neil Marshall as a friend. I remember speaking to him before the shoot, and I was saying to him, I'm getting really agitated about coming up here to do this. And he said to me, well, what did you want as an actor? And I said, I just wanted the freedom to kind of enjoy the process. And he said, well, then just make sure you clear that and make that happen.
And what exactly is Neil's involvement in this? Is it, okay, he's executive producer, yes, we know that. But what does it mean, essentially?
I think on this particular film, I mean, usually execs are looking at finance and bringing things in on that side of things. But for this in particular, Neil was, for me, a kind of sounding board. And I had somebody to go to on the nights when I was sitting up at 3 a.m. thinking, I don't know how I get the day tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So I just needed that confidant, and I needed somebody who I've known all my life, really, and all through my career, to just tell me, keep going. That's what I needed. And that deserves an exec producer.
Well, your history with Neil, obviously, you've done all the movies with him. I mean, was that important? I mean, does it take an actor to know how to direct another actor, for example? Do you think it actually is a good quality to have?
I think it helps. I think it helps as long as you realise, even being a director, you're not the star of the show.
What's your favourite scene, Victoria? What was the one that you liked?
What isn't my favourite scene? I can't pick one out. Come on, there is a particular scene. Can I give spoilers?
Of course you can.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So my favourite to film was actually one of the end scenes where I'm stabbing the wolf. Because just filming it was really therapeutic. The way it was shot, it kind of, obviously on the sandbag and proper. I think it took a few times for you to say cut before I actually stopped it.
Yeah, we just wanted to keep seeing how far she would go.
Yeah.
It was an endless take.
How long was your shooting schedule in the end?
So we did a block in the northeast for about 2 days, and then we went up to Nairn in Scotland, and I think the whole shoot was like 22 days in total.
Well, look, we're going to have the world premiere. It's going to be exciting. So, yes, let's see how it goes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.